and dialogue.
Well, if we move then to the period from childhood to young adulthood, again, there seems to be such, at least in the male population, such a glorification of war and the notion of a significant role somehow being played in either in connection of protection of one's country or whatever. But again, built around all sorts of violence.
This is correct, and this is how they have been taught as they have gone through the educational process, that in your particular civilization, humans have put these young males through, as well as females. Females have their own roles of playing with violence and pitting man against man, so to speak. There is the lack of security among many individuals who feel that the only way that they can be all that they can be is to have power over someone else. And what greater power is there than to think that you control someone else's life? It is not something that you can sit back and change. You can work with thought forms if you so desire, and should be working with younger children as they progress through life, but it is not something that you need to spend a lot of time putting energy into. Better you put time into putting energy into harmony and into how music plays throughout the universe and how music actually holds the universe together, how music is all that is. This is the harmony that you're seeking for the planet.
That's very true, and we try to give our attention to those peaceful and harmonious aspects. It's only once in a while when, at least for me, I begin to note that every piece of information that comes in from through the media and so on seems to be focused on some kinds of hostile interactions in the world that again, I'm aware that it seems there are very few of us who are focusing on peace and harmony.
They are there. They are there. They are just not the ones making the news. Perhaps it would be wise if you limited the amount of media that you paid attention to.
Yes, we've already cut that down to a minimum. Well, I'm hearing you say that this is essentially nothing for us to be concerned about, and that we don't come into this physical existence with any kind of need to be violent or aggressive.
This is correct. Concerns these days should be more toward the coming drought that is going to be taking place, and individuals should be aware of the dryness of the country and indeed the dryness of the world. This should be more of a concern, because there will come a time when those on your planet will have to band together to work together in order to live. This is not the chaos or the end of the planet, as Ramtha so speaks. This is a very natural occurrence that is taking place on your planet. And there will be a time when there will be less water and thus less food. And so you should be aware of these things and start to make plans for how you will handle that particular drought, the signs of which you can begin to see already around you. We predicted this drought well over a year ago. The signs are coming sooner and sooner.
And in speaking about providing for this state, what sort of thing are you speaking of?
Care should be made to see that there are alternative ways of having food. There should be pains taken to see exactly what one does need to eat and what one does not need to eat. And you should be looking to see alternative sources of food, alternative ways of gaining energy, of using the breath to bring in energy, to limit quantities of food that are taken in. There should be well planned practice and intelligent thought given to the fact that there will come a day when the food that is abundant now will not be as plentiful. And yet, individuals must take care to make sure that they do have a balanced diet, that they are getting all the minerals that they need from whatever it is they will proceed to eat. There is nourishment in many things that people are not aware of. There are other ways of gaining food and nutrition. You can gain nutrition even from a rock that has been dropped in a substance. There are minerals there and essences that those on the planet are not aware of, except for those that you would refer to as your native Indians.
What is the best way for us to learn about these alternative ways?
To listen to your inner voice and to pay attention. Many of the alternative things have not been written about at this point. Alternative methods are still based on the fact there is plenty of water and plenty of food. So you should listen to your inner guidance as to what you should be doing and what you can eat and how you will go about planning for that particular task in later years.
There seems to us an inconsistency between the idea that we create our own reality and the notion that things happen which we seem to have, which we would never consciously plan to have in our environment, such as a drought.
There are many consciousness working on this particular thing that you call a drought. And even your own soul, when you think consciously you will not plan a drought, your own soul may very well say, I need this drought to learn. I need this drought to learn that there is other ways of maintaining this body so that it keeps living. And that which I thought of as food can be many, many different things and does not necessarily have to be that which I call lettuce or that which I call water. So your soul, as you are aware, chose perhaps this thing you call a drought and chose to be aware and around during when the drought was taking place. It is always school. It is always learning. It is always a classroom that you are in, and you started this classroom before you were in human form. And when you step back and look at the total picture, you will see that it is not inconsistent at all. You may think that, for instance, on this particular plane, you would not choose or have chosen to marry who you married, but then, of course, you did, for whatever reasons you did, because you chose that before you incarnated. The same is true with any man-made or natural disasters that may take place. You knew you would learn from these particular disasters. It is not something you need to give a great deal of thought to. We merely wish to divert your attention from that of violence into some more basic elements of like, how do we live when there is no food? Of course, you can work with your mind and always create that food that you need. And so this could be a totally paradoxical discussion that is irrelevant.
All right, let me ask a different kind of question, or maybe it's the same question in different form. We heard the other day that that during some specific day during last week, the 5 millionth person had been born into the earth. I think that means 5 million now existing on earth. This increasing population over the years of our history seemed to us very strange in terms of the number of souls wishing to inhabit physical form, and how this population increases. Could you speak to that?
Why does this seem strange? Are you saying you think there are too many people here, or there are not enough people for all of the souls that wish to be on the planet?
Well, I'm asking about the relationship, I guess, between the number of souls and the number of consciousnesses available to inhabit the physical form.
Be aware that consciousness does not have to be in that form you call human to learn. And indeed, the consciousness moves into rocks and trees and animals. And so it depends on which level of consciousness you're seeking to grow in as to whether you actually need a body or not. And there are many consciousnesses moving around without human form that are still there on your planet and still learning and growing. You do not need a body for every consciousness that wishes to be on the planet. And there are those consciousnesses that are waiting, but it is their own timing to wait. They are learning as much by waiting than they would be learning, as they would be learning if we were there in human form. And there are other places that they can play. There are other realities they can learn from. And do not assume that human form is the only learning experience, nor is it the ultimate learning experience. It is a very good experience, but it is not the only one.
No, we haven't assumed that. Our question has to do with are there more and more souls who wish to experience the physical body, the human body?
If you mean, are we generating more and more souls? No, we're not. We always have a number of souls that came from the very beginning of time and always will be. The number of humans taking place is actually rather irrelevant to the number of souls that exist. The souls are evolving around several different realities, gaining their own information. The fact that the Earth's population is increasing really has nothing to do with the number of souls that are coming into being. Indeed, there are those on your planet where the body is here, but there is no soul within the body. Mm-hmm. So it is not directly proportionate to those souls wishing to be in physical form. You have many, many here, many, many bodies here which do not have a soul.
Well, that's something new here. I haven't understood that before. You aren't speaking of individuals who are in some sort of coma or...
Some are in comas. Many of them are in those institutions that you would call mental. Some of them are in places that you would call prisons. Very few are actually out walking around in what you would call a normal work world, but there are some that are very much like a robot and just on automatic pilot. There are a few of those. Most of them are those who have just stepped out and left the body. And thus the body remains under the care of caretakers, whatever role the caretakers may take. And of course,